It could always reduce, you know?
I know. Of this regular meeting was provided to the public and the press on January 19, 2025. It was posted at the municipal building in accordance with the Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-7.
Thank you. You all please stand and join with me in a pledge to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Lucieri.
Here.
Councilmember Di Benedetto. Councilmember Higgins.
Here.
Councilmember Sparta.
Present.
Council President Rizzuto.
Here. This month is Child Abuse Prevention Month. Owing to that, that is an issue that expands into a number of areas. And I thought we should include mention of some various situations. Whereas child abuse and neglect is a complex and ongoing problem in our society, affecting many children in Sussex County, and whereas every child is entitled to be loved, cared for, nurtured, feel secure, and be free from verbal, sexual, emotional, and physical abuse and neglect, whereas child abuse and neglect not only directly harms children, but also increases the likelihood of criminal behavior, substance abuse, child health problems, risky behavior, and whereas the effects of child abuse are felt by communities as a whole and need to be addressed by the entire community. And whereas effective child abuse prevention programs succeed because of partnerships among families, social service agencies, schools, religious and civic organizations, law enforcement agencies, and the business community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and council of the Township of Vernon does proclaim the month of April as Child Abuse Prevention Month and calls upon all citizens, community agencies, faith groups, medical facilities, and businesses to increase their participation in our efforts to support families, whereby preventing child abuse and strengthening the communities in which we live. This is signed by our mayor and myself as council president. Thank you very much. We will have a presentation. Now, the presentation will be made by the mayor. It's to be the state of the township message. Mayor Rossi?
Thank you, Council President. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this year's 2025 Township Address. It has been 1 year and about 2 months and 30 days since I've been in office, but who's counting? Before I begin, I would like for everyone to stand, if you can, take a moment of silence for all those we have lost in Vernon Township this year. Thank you. Maybe see. Before I talk about 2025, I think it's important for the public to understand what it is that we have done in 2024. For many years, we have been led to believe through the fake news on so many of these local Facebook groups, false information led us to believe that the employees here are always doing something wrong, not qualified, corrupt, or not needed. I took the time to evaluate what goes on in this building and the employees who operate this municipality and learned that 90% of this information being posted is fake news. This nonsense, because that's exactly what it is, it's nonsense, comes from those who have never held an elected position or worked for any government position, definitely never worked for Vernon. Are the employees here perfect? No. Do we make mistakes? And I said we, because I've made some. Yes. If we make mistakes, we fix them. And let me be clear, we are only human beings. Even computers make mistakes. And just wait for AI to make its mistake that can potentially be catastrophic. I don't want any employee here to feel that they are not respected or appreciated when they come to work. That is no way to feel. I worked for the largest banks in the world, and I know that feeling. It is not good. Since I've been in office, I have seen nothing but the opposite. Every day, the employees here show up every day. Every day I see hardworking employees. Most of these employees are taxpayers too. I'm extremely proud of the work that we have done for the taxpayers and extremely proud for all the hard work from my administration, DPW, police, animal control department. And I want to thank all the volunteers who sit on our boards and committees for the time you give for this municipality to make Vernon a better place to live. Lastly, to all of our volunteer fire and EMS teams, your dedication and sacrifices you give for the residents in this town are unmeasurable. As mayor, I am so grateful to be part of the incredible township of employees and volunteers. I hope while I'm in office, I can change the morale in Vernon. My door is always open to everyone. When I ran for office, I made campaign promises. I am proud to say that I have pretty much fulfilled all of my campaign promises, which was I ended the yearly tax reassessment. I cut 1.8 million from the capital items budget, municipal spending. I stated that I would work closely with the CFO, business administrator, and department heads. We continuously look for ways to save taxpayer money. One small example is office supplies. By having to attach proof which site was actually cheaper when ordering from these three companies that we have access to, such as Staples, Amazon, and WB Mason, and who had the lowest price. We do this when we spend our own money. And most importantly, we must do it when we're spending taxpayer money. My administration has collaborated with the unions. This ended in a fair contract with both DPW and UAW unions with a fair contract. Fostered collaboration with neighboring municipalities to reduce overall spending to extend our shared services that will only raise Vernon's revenue. That's still a work in progress, but I am proud to say that we have opened, or the Vernon Board of Ed has opened up that door for us, and we have saved a lot of taxpayer money by having that relationship. I also said I wanted to make Vernon business friendly. We accomplished this by having a few key factors. That is attitude, availability, and determination. on seeing your business succeed. We have also created a business coordinator role. However, Mindy Martin, who is the acting zoning officer, so these two positions kind of roll into one, so it kind of worked out. Most of the time when you come open a business, you tend to start at the zoning to see if that property is actually zoned for that use. We offer incentives. We have implemented the first pilot program for the newly built, which should be done by the end of August, September, for the 55 unit for 55 and older, which will result in nearly $9 million over the term of the program for the municipality. I believe it's not for the school either, right? Sorry, guys. Excuse me. Gradables. I stated we needed to invest in revitalizing downtown Vernon to make it more attractive for business investments. We have accomplished this by kicking off the town center facelift project by staining that god-awful red brick, which is a much better look. We've installed stone planters and a township clock, which is hopefully in the next few months. It is on order, which should be here hopefully next couple of months. This was all done through donations. We didn't use any taxpayer money doing it, or at least so far. We still have the install to go and things like that. I said I would encourage the development for more housing in zoning areas and offer space to increase ratables and lower the sewer costs to connected users. We have 11 residential and mixed-use commercial buildings coming into town center. The commercial space will consist of small businesses and hopefully, we are working on it, a rooftop restaurant. Mountain Creek has a ton of development that is coming real soon. That will become a destination place. I don't want to speak ahead of Mountain Creek. I will wait for their permission to talk on that, but it's going to be, I've seen some of it. It's going to be incredible. Transparency. I said that if I was elected as mayor, I will bring a spotlight to the forefront. I believe I have done that by using social media as a tool to communicate directly with the residents of Vernon. I have also said that I would work closely with the council, and I have even invited them to the budget meetings. No other mayor has done that before, not that I'm aware, I guess. So let me begin. I think it's important that we understand exactly what we have done in 2024, because I think that the work that has been done should be recognized. But let me go through the financial part of it. We paid down over $2.6 million in outstanding debt obligations. We invested $1.2 million into capital equipment and future purchase reserves to help reduce reliance on debt expenses and other for items with short useful lives. We brought in over $1.1 million in revenues above anticipated. We increased fund balance by $100,000. We reserved funds for future expenses in accumulated absences, storm recovery, and tax appeal liabilities. All of these areas are helpful in reducing future needs to increase taxes to account for unforeseen circumstances. We brought in over $260,000 in grants and are anticipating significantly more in 2025. We authorized our health insurance advisors to create 2 new plan options for health to help reduce costs in the future. Some of those grants is the opiate settlement, housing element, and fair share. Land grant was $25,000. The Highlands, I think it was the Highlands Council. Local recreation improvement grants, $75,000. Recreation opportunities for individuals with disabilities grant for $12,377. Now, some of the pending grants we have is New Jersey Department of Transportation Alternatives Set Aside Grant Program. So what this is, this is pending. We're applying for it. It's a no match grant for up to $1.5 million. And what that will do is that will connect bike lanes from Maple Grange to Canal Street, from what I believe. Tina, you know more about that. You were on that call. Again, this is this is no taxpayer money. This is fully, through a grant. I swore I wasn't going to build trails and things like that. That was two administrations. But, this one, it's free. Free is for me, right? So capital projects, digital records in construction, to make them more accessible to the public for immediate access. We have an abundance amount of boxes, and that's in the building department, that's up to the ceiling. We finally stopped the bleeding of that. We equipped our fire departments with new turnout gear, tools, air bottles, and help to reduce their costs by taking on training to help with recruitment and standardized expenses. We also saved over $150,000 on purchasing a lightly used, and I mean lightly used, it still had the new car smell, used pumper truck for Potoc Fire Department. Instead of spending over $520,000 for a new apparatus and waiting 2-3 years for that delivery. This makes our department better equipped to answering calls and keeps our residents safe. This also allows us to get into those small lake communities that we have a difficult time trying to get those large fire apparatuses in. For EMS, we purchased a new ambulance to replace one that was nearly 20 years old and already refurbished once. We invested over $1.3 million in road improvements. We invested and completed 80% of the lighting replacements at Veterans Park, a multi-year project that will be completed in 2025, which on May 3rd, we're actually going to have a little lighting ceremony, which I think is the Little League opening day. So we're looking forward to that. I think it's around, going with the time, I think it's somewhere around 6:30 p.m. We invested funds into a garbage compactor to significantly reduce the cost of hauling municipal garbage to Skooma. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. They approved the merger for the ambulance squads, now called VEMS, resulting in a substantial cost savings and extended coverage. One of the problems that we had with our EMS is we had so many volunteers on one, but not on the other. It was just best to consolidate them all to VEMS, and now we actually have coverage throughout Vernon. So the coverage and expense wise, this really was a win-win for everybody. I said the Board of Ed shared services. We've done that. We paved over 4.9 miles of road, including 4.7 miles of secondary roads, implemented crack sealing on several additional miles throughout Vernon. We launched the DEP-free bear-proof garbage can program for all residents outside of our private communities. I wish I could have done it for everybody, but this is what came from the DEP. We hired 2 local volunteer firemen to fill 2 positions at DPW, which also ensures we have coverage for our fire department in case of an emergency. With the help of some friends in the area, raised $500 donations for the Vernon Animal Shelter. We raised funds totaling $9,300, and this is Noel Albert, by the way. He's donated the $500 a month for the animal shelter. He's also donated $9,362 for 2 ballistic shields for our police department. We raised funds for the township project, as you know, and raised nearly $10,000 with the generosity from the Historical Society Township Club. We successfully held the first ever car show in Vernon Township, which raised money to support our local emergency service teams. It wasn't a lot of money, but I think the goal really was to actually bring a community together. And that's something that I didn't see with the recreation department. And I tell this to Michelle all the time. But the value of the recreation department is extremely valuable because, again, they're bringing the community together. And the value is great in what they do. And the work that goes into planning is just, it's extensive. We executed and signed a $105,000 bond ordinance for the Highland Lakes Fire Department, resulting in significant savings on interest for the fire department for the much-needed building repairs. I appointed Judge Peter Lamers to a 3-year term. I just appointed new prosecutor Maxwell Smith. We extended our building department hours in the summer. I think we're 6 months now. I think it's more than just the summer, right?
Yes,
Yeah, I
I think we're at like almost 9 months.
Almost 9 months, yeah, which is great. And that's no cost to the taxpayers. We just were able to stagger the shift. So therefore, we could actually have the earlier hours, because contractors, they need to start early. They're not hard for them to wait at 8:30 a.m. to come in and file for a permit. So they come in a little bit earlier and get that done. We contracted Planet Networks to upgrade all of our phone infrastructure at zero cost for the hardware, saving over $275,000 of taxpayer money throughout the 5-year contract. We restored the Historical Preservation Commission, which, as you know, has been abolished. Well, I tried to revive the Arts Advisory Committee, but I think it's struggling. I'm not seeing a huge demand for that. So that committee may just fall to the wayside. Again, we canceled the garbage disposal contract, saving $20,000 in taxpayer money per year. We have drafted a lease agreement between Vernon and Marwa Township to lease a much-needed fire tanker for Highland Lakes Fire Department for $1 per month. We have a great fire tanker that the guys actually love very much. And it's been helping out because we do have one on order right now. And I think when's that coming in? A few months, right? August, September? Yeah. Right. And I just spoke with the mayor and it's like, whatever, bring it back whenever. I could probably offer them $2. They'll probably take, let us keep it, but I'm just kidding on that. But I really thank the mayor for that because that's really helped us out a great deal. We launched the Vial of Life program in collaboration with the Vernon Women's Auxiliary Group. I officiated 25 civil ceremonies. Wow, 25. We collected $270,000 in tax liens. We also, we are kicking off the sale of 30 properties. Now, just so everyone knows, we have set up a new process so that we don't sell property that we need, so that it actually goes through every department head here. They sign off on it. Our police department has gone out and checked the boxes to make sure there's nothing on there. We have also sent our zoning to confirm, and also to our town engineer, just in case there's an adjacent property. We're dotting our i's, crossing our t's, and then dotting them and crossing them again, because again, we don't need to sell property that we need. Okay. I requested over $11 million from Congressman Josh Gottheimer's office to further expand our sewer service area, which I think, Danelle, right, we're going to be requesting.
I submitted that today.
You submitted today. We upgraded and installed additional cameras for the protection of our municipal employees, as we found a fishing hook adhered to one of the pull-down handles in our zoning department. We encouraged 41 employees to participate in the AED CPR training course, implemented mandatory training on recognizing child abuse and cybersecurity for all employees. We promoted Harry Russo to sergeant. We hired police officer Robert Bauman. Actually have an officer right now in the academy that will replace a sergeant once in, I think, July, August. So I'll announce his name when we get closer to that date. The rec department, as like I said, this rec department is so valuable to the town. Monthly engagement community newsletter that they continuously put out. highlighting programs, events, special announcements, messages, kiosks at all facilities. They surveyed to assess community needs. They expanded the senior services for a growing population, new exercise programs, art programs, tech classes, how-to classes, matinee, lunch trips, city cruise trip, coordinated closely with county services to maximize available funding, collaborated on new grant applications for increased services. And last year we hosted the Sussex County Senior Olympics, which was a great event. I think this year, when's it? Next year it's going to, this year it's going to, I don't know where it's going somewhere out in Sussex, but unfortunately it won't be here in Vernon. Increased attendance for nutritional site programs. Additional low and no cost program services at all for all ages. Interest with focus on inclusion, arts and family activities. Art in the park, nature walks, Easter egg trail, astronomy events, car show, public competitions, education group hikes, archery program. They also applied for the Royd's grant awarded for therapeutic horseback riding program. I think I just announced that. So you will get information on that and how to register for that program. Just want to say the Easter egg hunt was we had, I think, nearly 500 children that was registered that showed up. Surprisingly, because we were worried about that snow. It was a very, very successful event. So I do thank Michelle, Meg, and the rest of the Sussex, the rest of the Recreation Board and volunteers who helped coordinate that and run that program on Sunday. Parks and facility updates, safety, sustainability, usability, and longevity. Coordinated with PAL for exercise equipment. I don't know if you guys noticed that there's some exercise equipment. Actually, I think Jason Hall, actually able to get a hold of this exercise equipment, which got a really, really good deal on it. That's located at the by the pump track. The Maple Grange Park, the snack shed renovation, rebuilt play fields, repaired fencing, the Musco lighting installed at the Bell Field and snack bar field, electric upgrades, water line repaired, LRIG grant awarded for senior field lighting. Maple Grange Park electric to maintenance sheds and scoreboards updated and painted, lower parking lot paved, snack bar siding replaced. We just did a resolution. So we outsourced the snack bar. So somebody's going to be running that whenever there's games and through the summer events. So look forward to that. Community garden, solar water system installed, water replacement 75% complete, updated memorial donation process, Blue Star Memorial dedication at Veterans Memorial Park. Thank you again for Michelle for applying for that. And there's only 3 in Sussex County. And we have one of them. That's the Veterans Memorial Park. On to the tax assessor. The tax assessor has a responsibility to the citizens, municipality, director of division of taxation, the county tax administration. Tax assessor finds full and fair value of nearly 14,000 plus parcels within Vernon Township, produces and certifies the annual tax list and notice of assessment mailing, locates and properly describes property as described by the Division of Taxation. The current rate township tax ratio right now based is 98.65%. Back in 2008, we were at 45.65. So we're at 98.65. So right now we're in good shape for not having to do a reassessment or revow. Back in 2008, total taxes lost was $329,127. 2024, only 1,108 total taxes lost. I'm not going to go into exactly all of this information that I'm telling you. We're going to be posting that on our township website, be on my Facebook page as well. And it just gives a breakdown of all the stuff that the tax assessor has written down here, how many farmland assessed parcels and so on and so forth. I don't want to bore you with those details. Land Use Board has approved 12 applications. Again, that list, it will be available. They're going to get very busy with all the development that's coming into Vernon. Like I said, they just submitted for, one key is just submitted for a 27-unit building, which is right next to the 55-unit building. There will be some affordable housing in there. It's not going to be a full affordable housing building. Let me be clear. There will be some units that will have affordable housing in it. Our fire prevention. 860 smoking carbon monoxide detector inspections, 117 life hazard inspections, and 198 non-life hazard inspections. 743 smoke certificates totaling $10,414. 166 type 1 permits totaling $10,000. That's a duplicate, $414. 17 type 2 permits totaling $4,419. 2 type 3 permits totaling $854. 14 type 4 permits totaling $8,974. 239 building insurance registrations totaling $18,000. 275 non-life hazard user registration totaling $18,700. 15,029 in penalties and $2,500 in dedicated penalties. Total amount brought in was $136,000. Unregistered short-term and long-term rentals brought into compliance. 4 fire departments collaborated for successful fire safety and prevention presentations at Vernon Township schools. They've been pretty busy, the fire prevention, especially with the short-term and long-term rentals. Our building department, they've issued 1,425 building permits. Updates issued 185. Total number of inspections, 5,055. That is a lot of inspections. The number of permits closed, 1,731. Total certificates of occupancy issued 48. Total temporary certificates of occupancy 40. Construction records clearance certificates 125. Total revenue to date, $689,182, which is an incredible amount. One of the things that we passed this year was the construction clearance certificates. That was if I sold my house to you and 6 months later you decide you're going to go file a permit for something, next thing you know, you're being alerted that you have all these open permits that you're responsible for. So one of the things that you have to go through a records clearing to make sure those are all closed out and completed. DPW accomplishments. This was the first season utilizing plow contracts. It seemed like this year it seemed like every weekend and every holiday the snow came, which definitely increased our snow usage. Took over the 5 following roads for plowing: Ho-Chuck Terrace, Baker Road, White Oak Trail, Decker Pond Trail, Hidden Valley. Again, they've been working on the Board of Ed shared service, which is asphalt patching, drainage work, sweeping parking lots, and tree removal. Tree removal, by the way, is we only take care of trees that we can drop in the woods. It's that we power lines or structures. We don't have the equipment to manage that and do that. So it just make things safe, along with keeping our guys safe as they're doing it. They held the two bulky waste days, removal of two derelict trailers. And again, the list goes on of what they've done. That will all be put on the website. Well, they did some fence repair, the crack seal. I think I've already talked about that stuff. 2025, over 6 miles of township roads. Some of the private communities have jumped on my offer, and that is to get their roads done cheaper for the price that we get charged for. And it comes out to about, so far, it comes out to about 10 roads. So on top of the over 6 miles of township road that we're paving, there's also going to be 10 roads in our private communities that's going to be done as well. New businesses. Like I said, Vernon is growing. It's going to, as I've been saying, it's something that you've forgotten. Everyone always talked about Warwick. We have over 30 businesses that opened up in Vernon Township, over 30. So that tells you, that's to the police department. This is the second year in a row, we have been voted out of 564 municipalities. Vernon Township is ranked #1 in the safest township in New Jersey. That, to me, is worth to live somewhere that's the safest. And you know what? That work goes to the residents here and to our police department. Every day that they run around, they run over 100 square miles of road, working details and trying to prevent certain things. So I want to go through some of the things. The police department's been very busy. It's funny, I say that they're the safest, but there's a lot of stuff they are doing. So they just installed the new 9/11 system upgrade, the next gen 9/11. They completed days ago. Carry permits. The Bruin decision. New Jersey fire investigations. Total carry permits was 1,179 permits. That was a total of $48,320 in collecting in fees. Implemented the new credit card processing portal, Municipay, which collects the firearm fees. Year to date, just with the credit card is $14,975. New hire and retirements, 2024, field office program, Sandsmark, Duffy, and Lupinski. Enterprise trading through our second round of enterprise vehicles purchased and upfitted new vehicles. Seamless New Jersey crash. This is just a couple of soft fees of records clerk time. The police licensing. This is one of the things that's taken a lot of time downstairs is the police licensing. 33% of the sworn officers each year has to be licensed. It's almost as if like it's like a driving record that, you know, it's based upon on how you perform as a police officer. So those things are actually follows the police officer no matter where he goes. And that just takes a lot of time. We issued police department policies and procedures. We did that a few months ago. We went through it. We've I think the last time was almost 10 years.
10 years.
10 years ago. So we went through that pretty diligently on the police policies and procedures, and we meant to help prepare for the accreditation program. Police department training, firearms qualifications. We have a list. Again, all this stuff will be on the website. The verbal judo training. All police officers will go through a verbal judo training. Bulletproof vest replacement rotation completed utilizing grant funding. Rotation is five years per vest. And that is, I think grant funding. Food donation drive used to fill the local food banks. Traffic case studies. So County State Road, Vernon Crossings Road, Church Street, PVL Drive. LED lead program for all 5th grade Vernon Township students. And they added this year in 2025. I gotta say, we had a great time when we went there, right? The kids were the kids were loud and they appreciated our presence there. So, but thank you, Lounsbury, for having us. Community involvement, they're in view, the police department is involved with every community event that goes on. Again, I don't want to, it's a lot of events that we go through. Drug take back initiative collected and destroyed 274 pounds of drugs. Our jail cells audio system upgrade, Oprah's completed year to date 81. Now their Oprah request is not like Marcy's, they're more, because a lot of them are video, so they have to be, edited out, and it has to be a lot of redacted stuff. Upgrade to wireless gateways at Lake Conway, Lake Panorama, emergency service towers, significantly less radio interruptions or issues for fire, EMS, and police. We're through significantly staffing issues in both dispatch and patrol, including injuries on and off police and family leave. We work with all the local townships. We're very close with Warwick Township, Police Department, Fire Department. We still engage and still have very good relationships with them. We work on a group effort to try to help reduce and share information. Again, this is they've completed all the state mandated on-time compliance with the New Jersey Office of Attorney General. Here's some interesting stuff. Detective Bureau had 281 investigations. Investigations include theft by deception, frauds, assaults, sexual assaults, criminal possession of a weapon, criminal mischief, burglary, endangering the welfare of a minor, distribution of CDS, harassment, cyber harassment, and various other New Jersey crimes. Out of those investigations, they have executed search warrants, communication data warrants, and made 20 arrests pursuant to a database investigation, with more arrests to come from these investigations. Animal control, 5 shared services we have with other towns. 3-year contracts totaling $85,420 is income. Significant large-scale criminal investigation for animal cruelty. So if you know, in PBL, they had 90 dogs that were rescued from a illegal shelter, I guess, if you want to call it. 90 dogs. I think they had 50 ASPCA veterinarians from all over the world fly in that day. As that search warrant came in, they've captured every dog. Some dogs were dead. Some dogs needed serious medical attention. They caught every single one except for one.
Oh.
So that dog ran off. We caught him about a week later. And then months after court and everything went through, well, I adopted him. He's as known as Lenny. Lenny is doing very well. He has escaped from us a couple of times already. But he's come back right away. So he knows where his belly rubs are and he gets his food from now. So school resource officers, 534 calls for service, 83 investigations to take. Again, we have a bunch of grants. The chief is on board, constantly looking for grants and ways that we can bring in money. Grants, the Safe and Secure Grant, Federal Bulletproof Vest Grant, State Bulletproof Vest Grant. Arrived Together Initiative, implementing injunction with the NJOAG and SCPO. So as you see, the police department has been very busy. There's a lot more to it. You guys, again, you could see it on our website. Once we post it, so give me time this week to get it out there. The clerk's office, Marcy's office with Lauren and Donna, Oprah request. Well, let's talk about blue light permits, 19 total. Oprah request. 782. As you can see, Marcy's very busy. And surprised she still has hair. Liquor license is 13. Certified copies issued, death, birth, and marriage, 1,437 of those. Again, that's totaling for all said and done. I'm not going to go through this whole list of licenses. All of that stuff will be available too. You could see all the licenses, everything that she collects out of office, totaling $96,270. Our municipal court, I'm not going to go through here. This gives you really a detail about traffic cases, criminal cases, DWI filed, DWI disposed. And that total, I think, was, well, 123,266, but paid to Vernon was 70,373. Again, that information will be available so you can get the breakdown of that. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap this up, guys. So what to expect in 2025? We are looking to upgrade the lighting here in all of our buildings. Right now, I think our electric bill is somewhere around $12,000 a month. That's for all electric. I'm guessing once we upgrade everything, we're gonna cut that down, I think, by 60%. I'm hoping we can get that down. We're also looking into the solar panel project for the municipal center and I think DPW, animal control as well. Hopefully they'll all be connected. We are still working on that process. We're hoping that is going to be no cost to the taxpayer. There's a lot of incentives out there. There's a lot of companies that are doing it. So there's a lot of that stuff that is offered. I think we may have to lay out the money and then we'll get reimbursed, right? So some of those programs to know, I think.
Depends on what comes through.
Yeah, right. So again, it's still early, but that's one of the things that we're working on. It's gonna take a little time. Township, the town center clock, as you know. One of the things that we're looking to get done here is a first responders memorial. This is a long overdue. Something, I know the fire department has one in front of the Vernon Firehouse. But we're looking to have one here at the right here in front of the building. I have already been told by and verbally committed for $25,000 from Joe Hessian, Andy Mulvihill, and Jeff Kaufman. That $25,000 will go to building this first responders memorial. I have recruited Chief Dan Young, Chief Kevin Duffy from the EMS, and Mr. Brian Lynch, who is the chairman of the New Jersey State Firemen's Association Memorial. So together, we'll help build that memorial. We'll build it the right way, something that they will be proud of. So again, that's something that's been long overdue. Main Street, I'm working on the build out of Main Street, which right now is consisted of four buildings. We have a total of, I think, 11 buildings coming in here, and that's going to be between residential and mixed use. And one of those buildings we are looking to actually put in, and the developer has agreed, we're working through it, a rooftop restaurant. I think I'm super excited. No promises on that, but he said that he's all for it. So we should actually have a rooftop restaurant on one of our properties in on the Main Street. Like I said, the 27-unit building is they're submitting the plans. I think they already submitted the plans. I think they're going for the next land use board. Okay. Another thing, a few things. We filed a grant for a 75, which we've just been awarded a $75,000 grant. This will be for, I've asked Michelle to tell me, because she's the rec director, she's the one who manages the fields. I asked her what she thinks people would want. And we're going with a gazebo down in the Great Lawn at Maple Grange. That Great Lawn will also have electric as well, and that you can use. It's multi-use, so you can use it for many things. Another thing I have, I don't have much information on there, is that we are looking to do an extension for animal control. A quarantine extension. There'll be a small addition onto animal control. We're hoping that a lot of it can be donated. I know Noel Albert's already agreed to pay for the air system for this extension. The problem that they're having down there is disease runs rapid, especially with the cats. And it's so difficult to manage it when you have one sick cat, you just consider them all to be sick. It's such an uphill battle for these guys. And you could actually take it home. I didn't know that. You can actually walk in that place, not even touch an animal, and go home with it and bring that disease home to your animal too. So it's very dangerous. I don't have in time, I'll bring I have all the details from the sergeant, and we'll talk about that. And hopefully we get a lot of it done on donations, and then again, through our shared service agreements. Hopefully that will be paved. That will be taken care of. I posted an online poll about pickleball courts. A lot of requests for pickleball. And the number, I think it was like 150 people voted yes for it and 50 were no. Let me just state that we already have appropriated funds for Black Creek Drive paving. It's 408,000. According to our engineer, we should be able to pave that road, pave the walking trail. Now, the walking trail was something, and I regret, I said something to Howard once before about paving the trail. And then when I got into office, I sat with DPW, and they're like, we're constantly having to repair this, constantly having to repair the walking trail. You wash it away, we spend money, we're constantly. So that leaves me like, this is something that we have to do at this point. So, but that 408,000 should cover all of that. Again, it's already been appropriated. And if you drive down Black Creek Drive, you will see that you can actually lose a small station wagon at some of those holes that are down there. It's really bad. So hopefully that will get done this year. Now, I have something I've been working on with the DEP for several weeks. And that is that Vernon Township, come the end of summer, maybe in fall, that Vernon Township will start household garbage at our recycling center. Okay, there will be a fee, but I can assure you that that fee is going to save you a lot of money for the people who have their garbage picked up. And for those who take their garbage to Skooma, it will still be a lot cheaper than having to run it down there. We have the compactor. Again, I worked with DEP for weeks on this. It's a sealed container. We worked out all the details. We're still working through the details on how that process is going to lay out. Again, this is not happening right now. Wait for later announcements. But one of the things I heard on the campaign trail was pay all these taxes and we don't have garbage. Now, I can't get a garbage truck up to you guys, but at least this is a way I can put some money back in your pocket. As you bring your garbage down here, again, it will be a lot cheaper for you to do that. And finally, I want to thank Michelle and Meg. Well, first of all, Meg helped me put this presentation together. And thanks to her. Thank you for your patience. I will also, again, like I said, this will be on the website. But one of the things that Tina and Michelle has worked on a lot was the Hometown Heroes banner. And that's something that I felt very near and dear to me, that our veterans should be observed. It's something a long time in the making. And today, the first one that came out of the box that they brought to my attention Michael Basso was in our fire department who passed away this year. Well, it was a 24. He passed away, unfortunately. And so this, I don't know, it was, wow, the first one Michelle comes to my office with was this one of Mike Basso. I told the fire department about it, and the gentleman in the back from the fire department here to to show thanks. I appreciate it, guys. These will be starting, we're trying to get these all up by Memorial Day. So we'll have them. And I do have one more. I may get choked up, but this one is very near and dear to me. Oh, wow. Good looking guy.
Wow.
Yeah, a little bit, right? That's all I have. Thank you, council, for your patience. Was I must do that. I felt it was really important that we get out to see what we've done in 2024. And there'll be a lot more that comes about in 2025. As always, we continue to work and try to find ways to cut costs and find better ways to do things. So.
Thank you.
Thank you. Before we move on to our next item, I would like to recognize a visitor. Gentleman has been here before and call him a gentleman because he is. I've met him a number of times and spent some time with him. He is a member of our county commissioners, and may I introduce Mr. Alan Henderson.
Thank you, sir.
Please stand. For those who may not know, Alan is he is our representative that we contact with, if there's any issues with the county that need to be kind of walked through or overseen, and we appreciate his diligence and looking out for Vernon Township, and we appreciate the efforts that he's shown us.
Thank you, appreciate it.
You're welcome. If you have anything you'd like to say, please take this opportunity and.
I'd just like to say for your mayor, I think you have a lot of positive things happening here in Vernon. I think you should be proud of that. And you can see, obviously, your community's growing. I come from Lafayette. We're a really small community and not a lot of growth opportunity. I will commend you for that. That's fantastic. And as far as employees, unfortunately, I think that's no matter where we go, people don't show employees the gratification they need. I can tell you as county commissioner, my goal was to meet every county employee so they could put my face and everything to their name. I went to every single department the county has to introduce myself and say, thank you for all you guys do, because you're the ones that make Vernon happen. And I'll commend all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I want to thank the commissioner for, he put me in contact with some of the county folks on the issue at 515 with the overweight trucks. And from what I understand, Mr. Sparta, you said it today that they were.
Yeah, I saw them working up in Hardison, putting signs up.
Yep,
Oh,
new
nice.
signs. The new signs are more of like a picture, so it's not so that they're reading. So they'll be able to really see a picture instead of trying to read that. So thank you, sir, for help put
That'll work out for you.
that together. And thanks to those guys.
Thank you. Moving on to our next item. We haven't had an opportunity as a council to discuss the budget publicly. And this is not a budget presentation that will come later this month at our last meeting on the 28th. However, this is an opportunity for members of the council to query our mayor, the business administrator, and our chief financial officer about anything that may be, questioning on the upcoming budget. So if you have any questions, or make any comments, floor is open. Mr. Higgins?
Yes. The budget time is probably where I'm most interested in getting into the facts of how the township runs and how we run and why we do it that way. So just as a reminder, this township is about, rounding it off, 20% of your total tax bill. The county, 20%. The schools, 60%. So when you see an increase, even if the township goes up, go to the Board of Education. That's where all the money is being spent. And I'll make some comments on that at the end of the meeting. But in the meantime, I decided to take the CFO and the mayor's offer, and I put together two pages. Page 1 had 28 questions on it. Page 2 had 11. And we sat for 2 hours, wrote down answers, got some answers of things that I really needed to know to my satisfaction. There's a few on here that I'm not satisfied with. But in general, I like the openness, the CFO particularly on the questions, the answers, and, you know, a little bit of the background into why things are as they are. It was a positive experience. There's a couple of things. One, on what the mayor just presented tonight. This is new. It wasn't even on here. Mr. Mayor, you had in your presentation that we, as a township, saved 1.1 million budgeted versus expenditures, and another 100,000. So this was on your presentation tonight. Let's see which page it was. So it's 1 million total compared to last year's budget. So find where it is in your presentation. So my question would be, what's happening to that money?
Talking about where it says we brought in over, said 1.8, I'm not,
1.1, and it's on the slide. 2024 presentation worksheet administration. Ended the yearly tax assessment program. You cut 1.8 million from the capital items budget. You implemented the first 55 project unit. Let's see where else it is.
For page number?
Here it is. It's on financial overview. Financial overview of finances. We brought in over 1.1 million in revenues above anticipated. Right below that, we increased fund balance by 100,000. So you add them together, it's $1.2 million. Where is that money?
so, well, no, so 100,000 of that moved into fund balance. The remainder was moved, portions of that were moved into the trust fund. So we have a trust fund for snow removal. So at the end of the year, we have the option to move money into that account. We also have the option to move money into accumulated absences. So that's where a large amount of that money went.
Okay, so money was generated, so budgeted versus expenditures, and it was moved into trust fund or,
That's not how money is generated for the township. It's budgeted revenues. So you have to remember the appropriation side is entirely separate from the revenue side. So the revenue side generated more on the revenue side
right, so it's 1.1 million more in revenues.
than we're anticipated,
Or
correct?
anticipate, so that's a plus of 1.1 million.
Correct.
So that 1.1 million is now in our surplus fund somewhere.
Yes.
Okay.
Sort of, yes.
So that leads to the second question. A lot of these other questions I had were items such as that we needed clarification on. And, the big driver here was we approved 2 contracts last year, one for the UAW workers, one for the DPW workers. And my question was, how much did that cost? And that should have been asked whenever we voted on it, but we didn't. But we have people that work here. They deserve a raise. Everybody has cost of living. So the difference on the DPW workers is $65,000 and UAW workers is 31,000. And so there's 90-some thousand dollars. That's not counting benefits, just this go. And then we have the non-union employees, and the cost difference is another $63,000. plus benefits. So it's considerable. You know, there are people and we do owe them a decent living. I get that. But whenever we have extra funds or we did a good job of spending less than what we budgeted, those funds are our money. And the big question I had for the CFO was how much do we have in total surplus compared to the budget? The most important question to me that I asked. And we have $6.7 million in surplus. And our budget is somewhere between 31 and 32, depending on what we decide on. That's 20.9% in the bank for a rainy day. And then the question was asked, the CFO asked me, how much do I think we should have? And then I turned around and asked her what we should have. And we were this far apart. And just as our auditor has come to us in the past on her yearly visit, she says as an accountant, accountants are conservative. They want as much surplus as they can get. That was her words. That's not your words. So we're far apart on how much surplus we should have. But at 20.9%, and my statement was, how much does the governor of New Jersey have in surplus on a multi-billion-dollar budget? He has 10.9%, but his budgeting is a little different than ours. So there's a big difference. So when you have 20.9%, I'm going to have a very difficult time voting for an increase in taxes. That's my, we'll talk about this when the budget's up, but that's where I am right now. Thank you.
Have any comments on that?
Yeah, I just want to be clear. So when you use funds in the anticipated budget, right, the 1.25, which was in the introduced anticipated budget for this year, that would reduce that surplus amount to about 16%. And in our conversations, you said that it was 12% that you felt was a healthy fund balance amount, and I said it was 15 to 20%.
You said 30%.
No, I said the bond rating agencies would prefer 30%. I said that I felt comfortable with this township being between 15 and 20%.
So if I can interpret what you just said, instead of 20.9, if we go to zero, it'd bring our fund balance to 16.
If you go to zero, what do you mean?
If we do not give a tax increase to the taxpayers
And use all the fund balance to offset?
and reduce the difference between what you would like to charge to zero, how much of the fund balance would be used?
A significant amount more than what we're currently using.
So if we have 6.7 million in the current plan budget that you presented, how much would be left if we give zero tax increase?
I would need to do the calculations on that.
Okay, probably somewhere between 15 and 17%.
That's not true. If I just use 1.25 million in this year, in this budget right now, it would bring us to 16-17%. You're asking to bring it to, for a 0% increase. I'd have to do the calculations.
Okay, that's right. So when we discuss the budget, that's gonna be my main question. Because this is just comments, right? This is not voting on the budget tonight. So that's my main concern. And thank you very much.
So I just want to clarify, what is our current fund balance to know?
6.78 million.
And the budget that you presented, you and the mayor presented, is using 1.2 million,
1.25 million.
1.25 million of that. So 6.7, you said, minus 1.25 would bring us down to 5.5 roughly, or 5.45. Okay. So that's, so we are using some of our fund balance.
Yes. And you will not regenerate that.
Yeah, so that, and after using that fund balance, that brings us to the 16.9 you talked about. Okay. All right, I just wanted to clear that up in my head.
But it's going to be used, like it no longer exists.
Yep. And the over the unanticipated revenues, that was moved to the snow trust.
There was a large amount that was moved to the snow trust this year. As we saw in December and January, when I'm closing the books in January, you start to see what's happening. And how much money we're gonna need, and knowing how much we had in the temporary budget, et cetera. I thought it was imperative that we put a significant amount into the snow trust. Notwithstanding this past weekend, I don't know how much this past weekend cost, but we've already spent over $775,000 in snow removal this year.
So we've spent $750,000 in snow removal this year, not counting April.
Yep.
What's our current balance in the snow trust, do you know?
A couple of weeks ago, it was about $450,000.
Okay, and that was with putting those unanticipated revenues
Yes.
in there? Okay, so those unanticipated revenues have already been spent. Cause if you had over 1 million,
Well, we didn't spend over $1 million. It was $750,000 we've spent.
okay, but we had over 1 million of unanticipated revenues is what Bill was saying.
Yes, so it lapses to fund balance, but there are other things that also lapse to fund balance and appropriations.
Okay, so some of that over 1 million went to the snow trust account.
Yes, and some went into fund balance.
It was someone into fund balance, okay, but,
So remember, like you used 1.75 million last year, right? So you used 1.75 million. Yes, we started with 6 million. If you look at the AFS, right, we started with,
mhm,
actually, it might have been like 7 million. We used 1.75, so some of that fund balance for the 6.7 is regenerated from the revenue too.
okay,
It's a mix of appropriations and revenue that move into,
into the,
yes, and then things move outside of it when I appropriate it to, trust funds. So that they're spent kind of for what they were budgeted. It just allows you to keep that funding available for those purposes.
and what other trust fund did those,
Accumulated absences, when we.
oh, we talked about that, yeah,
Every
okay,
time stuff,
Mhm.
payouts that are capped, but they're still payouts. So instead of putting those payouts on the taxpayer inside the current year's budget, we put some into the trust funds so that we have that available and we don't have to increase our budget for those.
okay. So those can just sit there year over year until you have the retirements that you're paying out the accumulated, okay. Oh, do you know offhand what the balance of that trust fund is?
I could look it up for you. I'll get that number.
That's okay, that's fine. I mean, it's fine. I'm just curious. I know we talked about it when we met. And we did have a conversation, the mayor and Danelle, with Pat and I, about this. And went over a lot of things, and we did have some conversations about reduction. So I don't know if you had any proposals or opportunities of potential cost savings that we would be able to reduce the budget to the taxpayer.
We've had some internal discussions.
It's okay. So do you think, okay,
The amount of money that's in the compensated absences is $600,000.
okay, you found it.
More.
Thank you, Council.
Found it faster than you.
It's just bringing it up. I was
Now, geez.
waiting for it to load. Thank you.
And how much do we pay out a year roughly for that? Like,
It depends on the number of retirements.
yeah,
You know, it depends on the number of retirements, the amount of time that people have outstanding. There's a cap on sick time. There's no cap on vacation time.
okay,
Depending on contracts, et cetera, you know, it can vary.
yep, okay.
The $408,000 the mayor referred to for potential pickleball use. That's, so where is that right now, that money?
So the Township Council passed a bond ordinance a few years ago for the town center park.
Uh-huh. So that's unspent money and we've got that money.
It's money that's been appropriated for the use for that park.
Okay, so that could be appropriated for use for a band show.
No,
Why not?
Why not?
because of the type of use that it's for. That's a constructed structure. It's all dictated by the bond law.
A
On how
pickleball
things-
court qualifies and a band shell doesn't?
They're two different types of structures. So the local bond law is very clear about structures and how they're built, and what type of structure it is dictates the useful life, which dictates the useful life of your total bond ordinance.
Mhm. If you
No,
don't.
I could not use funds from that appropriation for a band shell. They're different useful lives.
Does it have to be spent to keep it?
I'm not sure what.
Do you have to use the money in order to keep it in our account?
Well, it's been appropriated. I don't,
We have the money. Do you have to use the money to build something to facilitate use of that money? Or can it stay in our surplus account, or can you do anything else with it?
it's not in a surplus account. It's capital. It's a totally separate fund. Our capital fund, in order to use money out of a capital fund, you need to have an ordinance for it. So you can have a capital ordinance or a bond ordinance. A bond ordinance issues debt and includes cash items.
Right.
for very specific purposes that are outlined in the local bond law.
So if
So
the
we've
council
done that.
had an ordinance and passed it to use that money for something, as you said, an ordinance
It can
would allow us
only be used for
to
the,
transfer it from capital to something else.
can't do that. You can only use it for those things,
For
So-
what things?
for what's outlined in the bond
Right.
ordinance.
So a structure can be included,
You can do a bond ordinance for a structure,
but it would have to be a bond ordinance passed by the council.
correct?
So if in fact there was to be the council was to require that, provide an action to move on a band shell and fund it by the by a vehicle such as bonds, then in fact it could go that way.
Correct, yeah, you could have a bond ordinance drafted by bond council, with an approved down payment amount in cash.
Right.
And then, yes, issue debt for that.
Okay.
And it would be dedicated in the same fashion. It could only be used for that.
Right, looking for options, that's all. That's why all the
Yeah,
questions.
you can't, so, capital is very strict. Whatever you issue those things for is what they can be used for. They can't be used for anything else.
Right.
Mr. Spark,
The snow trust account, is that only for the contractor portion or is that for?
No, it's for a lot of things. So anything that's related to snow removal or storm removal. So if we have a large storm in the summertime, or windstorm or anything like that, we can use it for overtime for that, equipment for that.
So if you had a microburst, you could actually use it,
Yes.
even though it's for quote unquote snow trust?
Yeah, back in the day, when they first created the storm trust, it wasn't called the storm trust, it was just for snow removal. And then because all the other storms that have happened, the legislature in the state of New Jersey has allowed you to use it for other things. They actually allowed townships to use it during COVID as well. But that has to be, done at the legislative level, but it's for anything storm related.
Our short-term rental ordinance that we have, there is a tax that's generated for
Correct.
that. Is that part of the hotel tax that goes to the state and comes back, or is that tax stay here?
Yes, so there's two portions. So there's the permit part, which comes directly here for online permitting. And then the tax portion does go to the state, it's the hotel occupancy tax, and then it comes here. So there was a huge uptick when we passed that ordinance for the hotel occupancy tax. Just a reminder, though, that 25% of it does go towards other things. So even though we might bring in let's say $500,000.
390.
And that goes to Maple Grange Field replacement. So there's a reserve for Maple Grange Fields. And then two portions go to like an active recreation component and not recreation, an active open space component and a passive open space.
Is it possible to have an additional fee or tax on short-term rental and or hotel usage beyond the hotel occupancy tax that can stay here rather than go to the town? Because whatever we generate goes to the state, and I don't think we get 100% of that back, correct?
Fair enough. I think that would be a question for the attorney that we would need to research. Because I'm not-
Happen to have one here.
I know some towns have had a municipal ordinance. I'll look into that.
I'm just saying, we are a resort community and we do have tens of thousands of visitors that come to our town every year that utilize our services, whether it be, police or EMS or whatever. And, I know when the sewer agreement went through, a decade or so ago, or actually it was probably 8 years ago, we did, Mountain Creek, graciously tacked on a fee to their lift tickets to help with the repayment of the sewer bonds. And that's worked out very, very well. And as a matter of fact, I think they were ahead of schedule of paying them off, correct? So I was just wondering if it's possible that we can do something like that, or things other than the sewer to generate some more revenue. Because you know what, we're at the point where, we could talk about appropriations all we want. But we're really kind of stuck here with appropriations with benefits the way they are, going up out of control.
Tax implication.
Tax implications as far as that, you know, outside of our services. I know the mayor spoke about, you know, having garbage down here, but, you know, outside of our emergency services and our road department, it's not like we can go after any services. There's not much there to go after. So I think we need to start looking very, very hard at other revenue streams to generate fresh, new ones that are not penal to our residents. So if we can somehow figure out a way to create some revenue from our resort industry, I think that's something that we need to do as a council and as a township, where we can bring in the people that own the resort properties here and ask them what's possible to do. It's not going to hurt their bottom line either. You know, we don't want to deter people from coming, but I also think we need to capture some revenue for them. So unfortunately, I will not be at the April 28th meeting. So I did want to get some comments in here tonight. I have to be in Washington, DC for some other business. So I will not be here, but if there's anything that we can do in the meantime to try to be creative, thinking outside the box for additional revenues, I would appreciate that. Thank you.
Can we ask some of our sister towns down in, you know, along the shore for copies of ordinances that they may have for how they're handling?
Yeah, I think that they're like local fees. I don't know if you can have a local tax, but I think they're local fees. So like a hotel fee or a resort fee. I think that's what Atlantic City charges, so I can reach out.
Mhm.
I think it has to mirror like the sewer agreement. I think that verbiage has to be kind of the same.
Yeah, because that's why they couldn't charge it tax.
Mhm.
Ms. Bucieri?
I think I already had yeah, I think I'm good.
Okay.
Oh, I did want to reiterate what Mr. Higgins said earlier about the school board. You know what, we've delivered 0 increases from the municipal budget 3 years in a row. And I am a former school board member, as is everybody, the guys here except for the attorney.
We'll make them an honorary.
We'll make it honorary. So, it is your school board that is increasing exponentially, drastically every year. And that is a significant burden on our taxpayers.
In fact, the township for the past 3 years has, in a way, supported the Board of Education's requirements in terms of taxes and whatever they've chosen to do. And by not raising taxes and by using our fund balance, which is essentially the same as, you know, developed the same way as they developed their fund balance. And the reason why fund balance is nice to have, but very, very dangerous, is because once you use it and it's gone, you now have no way of regenerating that fund balance except through your existing budget. And then by taking it out of that budget, you were only bringing it back to what you started out with. So if you used $1.5 million out of your fund balance and that brought it down to 0, and now you are at no fund balance, in order to have that $1.5 million again, you need to generate $3 million. 1.5 to bring it to sort of like ground level, and then 1.5 to put it back to where it was. And when you do this without having any plan involved, then you're running into a problem of digging a hole deeper that you maybe can't get out of. So just thought I'd bring that up. Fortunately, we've had a fund balance that's been workable. I think the discussion on this council and with members of the administration has not been whether to have one, just a question of how much we're going to use of it.
Right.
Okay, and the problem that we run into there is our council and our township, our administration, we go out to bond much more frequently than any other place, you know. And for us to go back and to go out to bond and looking at the interest rates, which are predicated on our rating, we find ourselves paying more in the long run if those interest rates are higher because of a lackluster bond rating. So it's kind of where we are, and I just thought I would point that out. Mrs. Bucieri and I did meet with members of the administration and the mayor, and we tried to work this out. I think we still have a situation where we can get close to maybe a double digit number rather than a triple digit number. But it's going to take at least 3 votes in order to get that. So if you have any other questions?
Not at this time.
Okay, good. All right. So we'll move on. Thank you very much, Mayor and Bright and Ian, thank you very much. Mayor's comments.
Mr. President, just, I had a complete statement, about the budget, but I just want to lay out what we were forced, pay since 2022. In this year's budget, we were forced to deal with and recognize not only this year's inflammatory costs, but also inflammatory costs of 2022 through 2024, which include the following. 1, over 21% in health insurance expenses. 2, over 26% in liability insurance increases. 3, over 28% workman's compensation insurance. 4, over 37% in road repairs, maintenance, other expenses and operations. 5, over 30% in buildings and grounds, other expenses and operations. 6, over 89% in recycling operations and other expenses for recycling disposal. 7, over 31% in police operations, other expenses for service contracts. Over 27% for fleet maintenance, other expenses for maintaining the township fleet and emergency service vehicles. Over 9% increase in budgeted utilities expenses. 10, over 16% in social security expenses. 11, over 38% in pension obligations for public employees. 12, over 28% for pension obligations for police employees. 13, over 11% in capital expenditure increases for cash capital expenses on short-lived capital items. So just to be clear, since 2022, we've had double-digit increases and we've had 0 increase. I don't want to raise taxes. No, I don't want to pay taxes no more than the next guy. But I just wanted to outline the double-digit increases we've had to endure year after year. So that's all my comments.
Thank you. May I have a motion to open the floor to the public?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Higgins. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Bucieri. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. The floor is open to the public for anyone wishing to address the council.
One thing to be first or last.
I'm sorry?
Be first and last tonight.
Okay.
Let's turn one of those
Hi,
around.
Stephen Dunlop. Sorry.
Turn the mics around.
Turn the mic around so.
The other way.
The item.
Steve,
Agenda items only, yes.
Test. You good?
can you hear me?
Oh,
Let me.
speak a little closer.
There we go. Steve Dunlop, Williamsville Estates. Couple of agenda items. First is resolution 25-111, appointing of a Vernon Township acting zoning officer. I don't know if this is a civil service position or not. I don't know if an advertisement was placed, but if it was, I just can't imagine what the advertisement might have said. Looking for someone with no training, no experience, and no certification. It's not the way I would have advertised for someone for an important position. It says here that this employee has been serving since March 17th, and now they're asking you to approve something that's already been done for someone that doesn't have her zoning administration and enforcement certification. Same thing with our last one. She was a security guard at Highland Lakes. And she just got dumped into the position. And then we, I guess, on our time, got her certified. It just doesn't seem to be the right way to do business. So I hope you guys will discuss it amongst yourself and realize that this is probably not the way to do things. And what you do, you do. The second point would be resolution 25-113. This is a sidebar agreement between the Township of Vernon and the UAW. And it talks about hiring a nutrition officer. Now, I don't know if this is someone that's going to go around and pass out snacks or plan people's dinners for them. I'm just shocked that somebody thought it was a good idea that we have a nutrition manager. So it's something else that I would hope that the council would maybe discuss among yourself and say, what the heck, why are we doing this? It says, and I want to be real quick because I don't want to lose my time,
Got a minute.
but it says that the township has agreed, the township has determined that it has a need for a new position with the title Site Manager Nutrition Program. For the love of God, I have no idea why. So we'll leave it at that. And lastly, we had a previous mayor that seemed to not know the size of our town. I heard tonight the number of 100 square miles mentioned about that, the police having to patrol 100 square miles. Last I checked, we were just under 70 square miles and have been since I moved here, unless we picked up another 30% of land somewhere. We're about 69.9%. And I think 67 of it's land and two miles of it is water. So if we're going to put the information out there, we probably should be accurate. We are not a 100 square mile township. But please think about what I said on these two resolutions. It makes absolutely no sense. Thanks.
Thanks.
How'd I do? I do okay?
9 seconds.
Awesome.
Doing good, Steve.
Ms. Carson, relative to the sidebar agreement, that came about as a result of communications between the township and the union.
Pat, move your mic closer, will you?
You have any comments on it?
This isn't a new position. It's a position we already have. And it was brought to our attention from the union that this position is being put into the contract. So it's a position and an employee we already have.
And the fact that it's being put into the contract is not something that we can dispute,
No,
kind of like a desk order
yes.
for the union. Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else wishing to address the council?
Good evening, everybody. I'm Heidi Labrise from Vernon, and I want to take the time after listening to the presentation the mayor did. I want to personally thank you. I see my tax money at work and what you do, and I do appreciate it. And I'm sure there's some people in our town that feel the same way. But I thank you very much. And I thank you for all you do in working together, because the future of Vernon means we have to work in unity for the people, of the people, and et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Heidi.
Seeing no one else coming forward, may I have a motion to close the meeting to the public?
Moved.
Moved by Mr. Higgins. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Bucieri. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
I just want to make one comment about the square miles real quick. It's 100 square miles of roads. It's not 100 square miles of the township. It's roads that equal that 100 square miles. It's not the actual size of our township, but it's the roads that come out to about 100 square miles.
So 100 square miles or 100 miles?
100 miles, 100 miles.
Yeah.
Review, all members of the council have a copy of our bills list. Are there any comments on this? Questions?
On the bill list? Yeah, I have one. More for clarification, because I don't understand, so I'll ask it public. I see Hotel Valley Fire Department being paid for reimbursement, $17,154. That's fine. But what's that for? What are we, just for my knowledge, what are we reimbursing a fire department for?
It's a line item in our budget for reimbursing them. So we are allocating funds to them. The reason why we do it through reimbursement is because the state of New Jersey requires that 50% of all funds sent to fire departments are spent on apparatus. Not just apparatus, it could be like hardware, fire panics. So that's why we have them submitted this way so that we can keep track of everything that's spent.
Don't we have separate resolution when we buy or purchase equipment that goes to the fire departments?
So those are capital expenditures. So when you're
Yeah.
talking about a fire truck or apparatus, that's outside of what would some towns call an annual donation to the fire department.
So is there equipment tied to the 17,000? Is it funding for labor? What?
I mean, it all depends on what it is. So it could be equipment. It could be, I mean, sometimes it is equipment. Sometimes it's training. Sometimes it is small hand tool equipment.
Pairs.
Repairs, things like that.
Okay, thank you.
I just have one stupid one.
I know.
63691, New Jersey Easy Pass, sweeper repairs.
There's sweeper repairs on yours?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
That is not on here. In the actual system, it is not sweeper repairs. I don't know why it says sweeper repairs on there. But the actual purchase order, it was the sweeper going through the Easy Pass when we picked it up.
Oh,
So not all of our vehicles have Easy Pass. They don't all need Easy Pass. Picking up the sweeper. Should not say sweeper repairs. I didn't pick up on that, sorry.
thank you.
Anyone else? No. Thank you. All members of the council have received copies of the minutes of our executive session of March 24, 2025. May I have a motion to approve the executive session minutes?
Moved.
That date. Moved by Mr. Sparta. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mrs. Bucieri. Excuse me. Any additions, corrections, deletions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Excuse me. All members have received copies of the minutes of our regular meeting of March 24, 2025. May I have a motion to place those minutes on the floor for consideration?
Make that motion.
Motion made by Mrs. Bucieri. Is there a second?
Second.
seconded by Mr. Sparta. Additions, corrections, deletions, or on that? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Excuse me. Consent agenda. If you have any items that you would like to have separated, please let me know and I will do so. Consent agenda, resolution 25-111, appointing a Vernon Township acting zoning officer.
I'd like to remove that from the consent.
Okay, we'll separate that. Resolution 25-112, amended resolution authorizing a grant application to the New Jersey Department of Community Affairs for FY 2025 Local Recreation Improvements Grants Program. Resolution 25-113, sidebar agreement between the Township of Vernon and UAW Local 2326.
Yes, that's separate.
Resolution 25-114, a resolution of the Township of Vernon, County of Sussex, State of New Jersey, awarding a refreshments vendor at the Maple Grange Park Snack Stand concession to the Scoop. Resolution 25-115, refund for totally disabled veteran, block 557, lot 5 at Padaka. Resolution 25-116, refund overpayment, block 464, lot 2, home. Resolution 25-117, refund overpayment, block 526, lot 381, Ahisha. And that concludes. We'll take resolutions 25-114 through 25-117. May I have a motion to place those items, those items on?
What about-
112.
Oh, yeah,
112.
112.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
112.
112 was not separated, right? You may have a motion to take items, resolution 25-112, and 25-114, 115, 116, and 117.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Sparta. Is there a
Second.
Seconded by Mrs. Bucieri. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Bucieri,
Yes.
Councilmember Higgins.
Yes,
Councilmember Sparta.
Yes.
Council President Rizzuto.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Resolution 25-111. May I have a motion to place this on the floor for consideration?
moved.
Moved by Mr. Higgins. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mrs. Bucieri. Questions or comments on that?
Yeah, I'd like to follow up on the gentleman from the audience, Mr. Dunlop, who asked the question. So this person who's in this position has been in since March 17th,
Yes, she's been acting.
acting. And that acting award or the designation was done through a civil service process.
So what happens since they're acting, a notice gets sent to civil service because we lost our zoning officer. They will then in turn call out for a list. We have not received that yet from civil service.
Okay, and when you do,
Once they do, then it gets posted for people to apply for it. So she's acting until we have some list come off and then she can finish getting her certifications. And in the meantime, if other applicants are on that list, then the mayor has the choice to pick who he wants to appoint for that position.
So the person's in training right now,
Yes,
really not functional as a zoning officer.
she's acting as of right now. She still can do certain certain aspects of her job as an acting zoning official.
Was this a transfer from a previous position?
Yes, she was,
Hold on, yes and no, right? So full-time, yes, but she was also been working in the zoning office for quite some time. So she has been, like 1 day a week, she's been working there,
A
so
full-time employee that was working there for no money,
we shared,
part-time?
no, she was shared.
Okay, so there was a position, a union position, and this position was split among different departments. And this individual, that position spent time in the zoning department, a significant period of time.
Yeah, amongst other positions, I guess,
Correct, yeah.
or other duties, right? That's an important position, zoning officer. I've been on the board now for a year and a half, and there was all sorts of discussions on the previous zoning officer not doing the job, I guess is the best way to say it. There were violations that were just gone unnoticed, from different types of advertisement flags that were flying to cars in lots where they shouldn't have been, or buildings that were falling apart that were left to fall apart. And so it's an important job. Yeah, you have a zoning official and they have the code official, as well as zoning for new buildings and all the rest. It's an important position. What's the rush to judgment? Why don't we wait for civil service posting, see if we get an experienced civil service employee?
As you recall during our discussion this past week, civil service takes a very, very long time to do anything. So we could have an opening for a job for a very long time. The township administration needs a zoning official.
yeah, because if we have people bringing in applications for zoning, there's a certain amount of time that these applications need to be approved. And if we don't have anyone being able to review them and approve them, it's gonna put a halt to any kind of improvement to people's houses or towns or.
Not only that, but if they're not approved within a certain time, regulatory period,
Automatically.
they're automatically approved without inspection.
And she's acting. I mean, I've worked with her on a matter here, and from what I see, does a very good job.
Yeah, I don't know this person at all. Never met her. I have no idea.
We've gotten a lot of compliments about her, and she's been doing a
But once again, Mayor, she is acting. And once the list comes out, then it's open until, it's open. There'll be other persons and hopefully she'll have all her licenses and et cetera.
If an alternative were to post a position and in 3 weeks you don't have any applicants, then you could move forward with this plan, correct?
But equally, you can't post a position until you get the list from
Civil
civil
service
service.
list.
They have to generate that, and then you're gonna have to.
Yeah, that's the process. We talked about how the administrator explained that we notify civil service that this is happening. There's this opening, we're appointing someone in an acting position. And then at some point in the next, hopefully 6 months, civil service will get back to us and they will say, here's the posting. We're authorizing you to create a posting. We can't just create a civil source posting ourselves.
Right. How long do you figure the training's going to last?
I don't know how long.
it's only a few weeks. It's not that long.
A few weeks, not?
Yeah, I think she has to go to like 3 separate classes or something. There's like one step and then after she completes that, she goes to the next and then following.
At what cost is that for us?
I don't know what the price is.
It's not that I don't know, but I remember it wasn't expensive at all. Not expensive at all.
It's run by Rutgers Center of Government Services, who run all the certifications for the state of New Jersey.
I could say probably, I'm gonna guess, 1,000, 2,000 at the most. It was not a significant, don't hold me to that number, but I've never seen enough, not a high number at all.
Well, based upon other council members knowing this person and our attorney saying you met with her
I've worked with her.
and you worked with her,
Yes.
That's a reference that I'll take.
And I will tell you, she was very thorough. She knew what she was doing. I was impressed.
Okay, that's a reference.
And I am
Sure.
impressed with many of the department heads and people in your town, by the way.
Thank you.
I'm just curious, why wasn't it on the March 24th agenda? We've had a meeting since March 17th.
I didn't get it on in time.
I know this person well. I've known her for a decade. My no vote will be not a reflection on her. It's a reflection that it should have been at least on the March 24th. We had the whole thing about the fireworks. This is no different. We're voting on things well after the time that it happens. So if it was on the March 24th agenda, I would have been okay with it because it is a position that is needed, as stated by Mr. King, but you know, a month after the fact is not okay with me.
If a no vote, then it would be placed on another agenda in the future for the same person? Yes or no on that?
But you need the zoning.
If it doesn't pass, what happens
Right.
today? If it doesn't
If it
pass.
doesn't
today?
pass, you don't have a approved person in that position.
Is it a statutorily
It is a
Required.
statutory.
required position? So we can't choose not to have one. We have to have one?
It hasn't nothing
Unless
to do
you,
with that for me.
unless you go out to a shared service with another town.
What's the alternative?
Shared service with another town.
For a period of time until we,
I don't think you would be able to do all that, but you could always do a shared service with another town for different positions in the township. But it would take probably at least 4 to 5 months to do that.
To negotiate with another town?
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
that makes sense.
And that's if you could do a shared service with another town.
If they have the
Yeah, well, if
capacity,
they want-
if they even
exactly.
have the capacity, if their zoning officer has the capacity. They
We
might
have
not.
share services with other towns for our zoning officer, don't we? Or did?
We did, but she was working full-time here.
So there wasn't shared service. It wasn't shared service. She was doing it on her own.
Right, yes.
So why can't we generate shared service agreements with those towns that person was working for?
Because,
We
I'm sorry, because it's,
I surveyed the towns and they didn't want to do it. I asked all of Sussex County about the zoning position. Shared service as soon as the former zoning officer left. And we did not get any response from any towns.
As far as them sharing with us or?
Just in general, a shared service, and nobody even, I think, got back to the mayor at all. For us to be the lead or them to be the lead.
So the idea of shared services seems like it is gonna go nowhere.
So, well, I,
nowhere with shared services and we.
Looking at- yeah.
No zoning officer. And we then continue without a zoning officer.
Right.
And then,
Any applications come in, get approved
Mhm.
without inspection.
then you have applications getting approved without inspection, which is not ideal. To say it lightly, right?
I believe the fact that she was acting on a temporary basis, you know, without council approval, was within a period of time that was allowable by statute.
right,
So she came when it was brought up to the council and we approve it. Ergo, you now have an approved position.
I'm not speaking for Mr. Sparta, you're making a great point. This is not the first time this type of activity on the part of the administration has taken place. You know, it's a pattern in some ways.
Yeah, I mean, the agenda meeting would have been that same day that she started. Right? Because it's always on a Monday.
No, it said that she's been serving since March 17th and
Yeah,
we
but.
had a meeting on March 24th.
Yeah, but the agenda meeting is on the Monday before, so the 17th is when the agenda was being drafted.
But
The
the
day she-
agenda doesn't get released until
The
Thursday,
17th,
Friday.
yeah, so it could have been, yeah, it was right,
Even added, it's necessary.
yeah, but, Okay.
Any other questions? Roll call.
Councilmember Bushieri,
Yes.
Councilmember Higgins,
No.
Councilmember Sparta,
Now you're gonna make me change my vote, aren't you? Only because I don't wanna see zoning happen in this town without oversight. Yes.
Council President Rizzuto.
Yes.
Motion
Imagine
carries.
if Pat voted no. Oh, okay.
Resolution 25-113, sidebar agreement between Township of Vernon, UAW, local number 2326. May I have a motion to place this on the floor for consideration?
Moved.
Moved by Mr. Higgins. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Bucieri. Any questions or comments?
Yeah, I have a question. So the union approached you, Tina, and said they wanted to create this position in their contract and move this position as part of their collective bargaining agreement.
Right, so I don't know where the conversation came. I don't know if it was an employee asking to be put into the union or not. But then the union approached us and advised us that this position was now gonna be in the union.
How do they get to make that determination?
If they have, if they actually have this position in their,
List of approved.
like,
They
yeah,
have, so the
right.
UAW has this position in their list.
It's based on the job duties of that position and whether that position, for example, is able to hire and fire employees. If they have input on employee review and stuff like that. If they don't, if they're not privy to like confidential information and stuff about other employees' employment, et cetera. Usually, in my experience, I've seen them be in the union. So when they ask for something like that.
So we can't say no. There's no, so they have a document saying, hey, these are all the positions and this,
Would be adding this to that.
but then how do they say they have it on their list then?
It's a civil service position, right? So there's, civil service dictates the job duties, the experience, all that other stuff that we require for that position. They can easily, anyone can look that up. They've looked that up and they said, we feel that this position, because it's in Vernon Township, should be in the union and should not be a non-union employee.
We
They have
can't,
the right to do that. People have the right to collective bargain.
and we can't say no.
And it's currently a employee of Vernon
Yes.
Township that
Yeah.
wants to move over to.
Yes, it's not.
Yes.
Yes.
So it's just, yes, there's no change. It's the same
Well,
person. We all
I
know.
don't know if there's not a change or not. Cause
No, it does say in here.
has there been any,
It says the same person.
you don't know if there's any change, well, it refers to salary schedule and agreement. But we don't know what the person was making now,
Yeah, actually, the salary schedule is not on here.
maybe making.
So is there a change? in
What other
salary?
type of benefits may be available to the person that's not available now?
There is a.
There will be, yeah.
Salary. An increase. There will be an increase in the salary. They just said yes.
There's implication.
And we can't say no.
Why can't you say no?
I don't understand. Yeah, I don't understand why we can't say no.
Because they can call for a desk work.
What's your job description?
It's listed on civil service website. We don't have it in front of us at this moment that I'm aware of.
Nutrition officer.
Nutrition site manager.
Nutrition site manager,
Manager.
yeah. Or site manager nutrition program with CSC title code 03716. So Mr. King, so if the union says this fits into our collective bargain, the job description of this civil service position fits into our collective bargaining unit. The union can come to our administration and say, we want to include this in our contract, and the administration cannot say no.
If you did, it would probably go to perk, right?
Go to perk.
And then.
Yeah, we'll lose. Okay. And that's a reflection of the job position or the person in it. It's just more,
It's a position, it's not the person.
just more of questioning how the union
Yeah.
is handling this and how that functions. Okay,
This is just, to me, this is just another example of government expanding. And supposedly you have no control. I just,
I think it's the union expanding.
no, it's government expanding.
It's the same position, but the union wants to now increase the salary. And pull it into their, yeah.
But it's more money, correct?
Mhm.
So isn't that expanding?
Yeah, well, yeah, the
Right.
salary's expanding, yeah.
By virtue of union inclusion.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Bushieri,
Yes,
Councilmember Higgins,
No,
Councilmember Sparta,
No,
Council President Rizzuto.
I'm going to ask that this item be held over. I think we need further clarification on this before we do something that's going to create a problem.
Already have.
I think we need input from our labor secretary on this.
Point of order to table.
Yes.
So you pick point of order to table. So
Tabling it.
is a motion to table?
Motion to table.
There's a second?
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Councilmember Bushieri,
Yes,
Councilmember Higgins,
yes,
Councilmember Sparta,
yes.
Council President Rizzuto.
Yes,
Motion carries 6.
thank you. Introduction of an ordinance, chapter amending chapter 374 of the Township Code entitled Nuisances, Public Health to prohibit prohibitive intrusive outdoor lighting. May I have this in a form of a motion? I'm sorry, may I have this in as a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Mrs. Bucieri. Is there a second?
second,
Seconded by Mr. Higgins. Roll call.
any questions on it?
No.
No, okay,
Councilmember Bushieri,
Yes,
Councilmember Higgins,
yes,
Councilmember Sparta,
Yes.
Council President Rizzuto.
Yes. This is just introduced it. That's the next. Fine. May I have a motion to open the floor for public comment on any item?
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Mrs. Bucieri. There a second?
second,
Seconded by Mr. Higgins. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
aye,
Opposed, motion carries. Floor is open to the public for any item. Time limit is 5 minutes.
Good night, everyone. I'm Karina. You guys are kind of familiar with me. That little one is my daughter, Louisa. She's from Lounsbury School. By the way, she mentioned that it was in her school and it's neighbor with her best friend. Yeah, so my issue with
Yes.
the water that is still open, no response, is because of that little girl that her daddy, it's also one of the coach's assistant, a volunteer in the town for the soccer, for the little kids. And she wants to practice. And we have to fix the landscape in the backyard in order for her
Practice.
but to practice, to play, because the way that it is everything washed away. There is nothing we can do. And if we do something, that will be washed away. So it would be just a waste of effort, money. And, she's 9. If I get in a legal case, if I start to after, by the time that this is done, she's gonna be double digits. She's not gonna be interested in soccer. And then time will be passed.
Has anybody been to your home since the
Well,
last meeting?
2 days later, the head of the DPW was there, said that he will look up, no response. So I need something is gonna happen, yes or no. Also, we spoke over the phone, Mayor Anthony Rossi, and that was, March 12th. And, I asked you, if yes or no. You asked me for a time, the 30 days is passed. I really need to know if that will be solved or not. Because I was here in the last meeting and for me, it was very painful to hear that is abandoned house that you guys are worried about, that whoever will be owning the house will not be able to use the yard and I live in the house and I'm not being able to use.
Quite clearly, the concern on the issue is not so much for anything other than, is it in fact the township's responsibility to repair this particular problem?
Oh, I'm not.
Excuse me, one moment. And we need that before we can act. And that information can only come through the Department of Public Works, through the mayor's office. And what they find as as to whether or not the situation is actionable, meaning that the township is required, or it's not, meaning that it becomes the responsibility of the owner. Okay, I don't know that, no member of the council knows that. And that's why I asked, when did you get a visit from our DPW? And because now we can ask, the mayor has received a report from DPW and what they have advised him.
Yes, he was there on Wednesday 26th.
Wednesday, the 26th
Yes.
of March.
Yes, and he said that he will look to it, he will get an answer for this, and he will let me know. That was the last thing. The thing it is, we have a easement. So my property is, it's a dry lane. But the water that comes washes away, destroy my property, destroy my landscape. I'm not asking for repairs. I'm being clear, I'm not asking for repairs, even though my property is being damaged. I'm asking for a proper place for the water pass. Because if that is dig down and create a natural place, like a French drain with rocks, every time that rains, the water will follow that path and will not go to the other side and destroy everything that I have in my way. So I think it's very reasonable what I'm asking for. I'm not asking anything to be fixed. I'm not asking anything to be repaired. I'm asking for the town to make the proper uses for the easement, create a proper passage for the water, which is not gonna damage my property and not gonna make my property unusable the way that it is right now. That's all that I'm asking, and I think it's very reasonable.
I'd like to ask the mayor if he could get back to us between now and the next meeting, so we can make a determination on this.
Okay.
Unless you're capable of doing that now.
I think Howie was waiting for another rainstorm to happen, but I'll follow up with Howie.
Okay,
It's a main work. It's dig down, create a passage. That's it. I'm not asking
I understand that, but
anything crazy.
you have to put yourself in the position of the township council. We have a lot of residents, a lot of homes.
Yeah, I
We
understand.
need to make an allowance for you, and it's not really our responsibility.
I understand.
Anybody else can come up here and claim that same type of.
Yeah, I understand. But the thing is, I reached out in October for the town. And since then, I keep reaching out to the town. And I'm here because I'm not having the response from the town, and I need that response.
So you need an answer one way or the other.
Yes, and since then, the only way that I'm because even for a meeting, I say, okay, I invited the mayor. Do you want to come over and look in person? No, I have people to do that. Okay, so just send the person and then the person tells me that he has to come back to be authorized to do. So I'm being in this ping pong between one another. I need an answer.
Okay, thank you. I understand your position. Members of the council as well.
One last question is not related to this. I heard you guys talking about pave the roads and so on. There is anything related to upgrade the water drainage from those streets that is gonna be paved? Because like,
Well, they're private roads.
no, I mean, they said that it has like the town roads that would be, so I'm just curious if there is any like drainage plan attached to this, because like in my mind, if you pave and then have to do drainage later, so it's be counterproductive.
Time is up. I'm sorry.
Okay. Just quickly, if you're living on a private road and you're asking that your road be brought up to standard for adoption by the town, it needs to be done prior to the adoption and needs to be done by the people who currently own the property or the road, okay? So if in fact you living on a private road and you own that road and you want the township to take it over, it's your responsibility to bring that up to township standards. And then once it's approved by the engineer, then it's recommended to the township, to the council, that we adopt it and add it to our list of roads. Am I correct, Mayor?
Yes, when it comes to private roads. However, I'm not giving your address, but she lives on Canastia Road. But all that stuff goes through our engineer who looks at that stuff. But we've been to your house, I think, a number of times. We've cleared out that easement where the water goes. We've actually put a berm at the top of your driveway as well. We've been active on.
Well, the
those
berm
things.
just create a problem for me, and I mentioned that to the DPW. The thing it is, the passage for the water doesn't exist. It's just dumped in the first
Can
feet and it stays there.
I ask you to, engage in conversation with the mayor and during the workday, and perhaps you can work it out and come back to us with the.
Sure, I will.
Type of-
Do you receive me in your office, Mayor?
Excuse me,
Oh, do you receive me in your office? Can I set up a meeting?
and call my office and set something up.
And we can also get a report from the mayor regarding.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to come forward?
Hi, good evening, Steve Dunlop again. Don't want to belabor the point. I know it's been tabled. I know there's questions. Sometimes it's a lack of understanding. Sometimes it's the way it's written. This resolution 2113, it says that the township and the USA are part of a bargaining agreement. And then it goes on to say that the township is determined that it has a need for a new position. Not that the UAW came in and said, this is something you have to do and you have no choice. The way it's written, it makes it look like somebody in the township came up with the idea that we needed this position. The UAW and the township have agreed to create the position, which will be a level 4 position. And then the parties agree that it falls within blah, blah, blah. But sometimes just the way it's written, it makes it look like who's sitting down negotiating this stuff? Who thought it was a good idea to sit down with the UAW and say, yeah, let's have a nutrition manager? And I think there were questions asked tonight about what's the job description? What are the duties? I don't think we got any answers to that. I'm not sure anybody knows. And then lastly, on the same vein, the following resolution 114, I guess it was.
The vendor?
About the scoop.
Yeah.
Says that it's been decided to go with these people. That was who was recommended. But if you look at it, you only got one bid. So what was there to recommend? Just the way they're written sometimes, it just makes you really wonder what the heck they're doing. Can you tell me which one that is? I'm sorry.
It's one,
By one
114, 25, 114.
14.
114,
Yep.
it says. How many pages?
Problem was on that, Mr. Dunlop, that the concession stand has remained closed for periods of time.
I know that.
And they were the only one, after advertising, that was willing to pick it up and assume responsibility for whatever they were doing.
I understand that.
Okay, and the township is getting a small piece of,
$200 a month. It's insignificant. It's not a big deal.
right,
My whole point with it is it says the township received one proposal.
well,
Okay, so we accept the one proposal. But then it goes on to say the recreation director has recommended the scoop as the most advantageous. That's not the most advantageous. It's the only one that you got. I just think that there needs to be more care in the way these things are written. So it doesn't look like we're doing something we're not, just like the one that I previously mentioned. It makes it look like somebody in the township thought it was a good idea to have a nutrition manager. And I don't think we got a very good answer tonight. So I hope you guys will continue to dig into it and try to get to the bottom and find out how we got there.
thank you.
Very much.
Anyone else wishing to come forward? No, may I have a motion to close the floor to the public? Moved by Mr. Higgins, is there a second?
Second,
Second by Mrs. Bucieri. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Council comments. Mr. Higgins.
Yeah, I'd like to follow up on the previous statement I made about the taxes and who's paying and who's not paying and how it all works. So going back to 60% to the school board, that's within 2%. The 20% municipal, 20% from the government. So you can hear that we do our best to keep taxes down. 3 years in a row, 0% tax increase. And that's unbelievable. This could be another year of the same thing. It's unheard of, but it only happened because of COVID and the amount of money that surplus was built up, not only here, but also on school boards and the county. The state, the federal government gave money to everybody, and the cost of doing business went down because people were not working. That's where the surplus came from. The school board found it within their capability of 3 years ago, having $11 million in surplus and blowing it in 6 months by hiring multiple teachers, and got into a problem where they tried to justify additional tax increases without cutting revenue. They didn't tell the truth along the way. They had a forensic audit. They were found that they lied to the public, and there was no consequences to the people. Some of them quit and just took an early retirement. But today, it's another day. And today, they're capped at a 2% increase as a normal type of government cap on a school board. The school board last year was going to go for a 2% and then another 4% on a referendum. And our famous governor said, you can scrap that, you can go to 9.9%. So they went to 9.65. So you as taxpayers got hit with a 9.65% tax increase from a school board that was saying we're going to start doing capital improvements and make the buildings better than what they are as the reason for doing that. There's a lot of reasons they did it. This year, the 2% became a 2%, and now the governor told them they can go to 4.2%. So that's the maximum. So what do the next day? They vote to go to 4.2%. And now there's additional talk on additional capital expenditures that are going to be over and above that. So the whole story here is we're doing our job. If in fact a resident gets a tax break, doesn't pay their taxes, we collect the money for the school board, we collect it for the county. Whenever we collect it, they get their 100%. We don't get it. If there's money short, comes out of our budget. If somebody doesn't pay taxes and money is collected, they get their full amount. That's another thing that the town does for the school board and the county. The county is projecting a 1.9% increase this year. That's that from what I read. That's within reason. That's within the 2% cap. And it's really up to the residents. If you don't come to the Board of Education meetings, they've made a statement that there's only about 10 older people here. They're the only ones that have the time on their hands to come and complain about the taxes. And everybody else, if they're not here, then we assume that it's okay. So you get what effort you put in, go to the meetings. If you're not a public speaker, get one person to speak for you. Just be there, show your body, put your hand up and say that you're against getting taxed out of your own home. That's what you have to do. Thank you.
Excuse me, Ms. Bright, how much did the state reduce the state aid to the township?
$194,000.
Plus the fact that we lost 194,000 in state aid.
Yeah. So we lost it.
We lost it and they got it.
They got it.
Mr. Spark.
Yeah, going back to the budget, we talked about replenishing of surplus. And one thing that we have failed to skip over, there is a way that we can replenish it, and that's with the back taxes of Legends. So I have asked, this is my third year now on the council, and I've asked each year for us as a council to do something about the back taxes at Legends. So I am going to ask once again for the council to determine some way through alternative means to get the back taxes and, or, well, if it is developed, they have to pay the back taxes to get it developed. So it's more important to me right now to get these back taxes back than it is to be developed, but I do want that developed as well. So, you know, the taxes that Legends has not paid us is approaching an extremely high number, and that's been picked up by everybody else in this town. And it's also been eroding, caused us to erode our surplus in order to pick up their tab also. So if we really want to do something as a council to help our own cause to replenish the surplus, then we need to take action against Legends.
We've already done that.
And it's not working.
No, on the contrary, we don't know yet. At this point, we met, we discussed it, and they have till the end of this month.
I'm not going to get into the developers agreement because that is a closed session topic.
Right.
However, we've been kicking this can down the road. We met in February or March of 23 was the first time we met about this. We met again last year. We met again this year. I'm done. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. That we just keep on being taken for fools by someone holding the purse strings. I want something done. And by the end of the month, if they are not made good, there's no more excuses.
We move on.
The next meeting in May is
28th.
no, in May, May 12th, is that correct?
12, yep.
If there is nothing done by the end of the month of April, May 12th, I expect there to be a resolution on the agenda to take alternative means against that property. A foreclosure by condemnation area in need of redevelopment. Thank you.
I agree.
Mrs. Butcher?
I echo Bill and Brad in both of their comments today. And want to wish everyone a blessed Easter coming up on Sunday, and enjoy break if you have kids in school. Hopefully you'll be able to enjoy some nice spring weather, and everyone be safe. Thank you.
Thank you. I too would like to see the Legend situation either move forward with some progress on the current issues, or we start over and move into another area for condemnation. We've had a discussion on this that discussion was within the boundaries of our closed session. There is a time period on it. Once that time period expires, then we can move. But I'm in favor of moving that way as well. So certainly if nothing happens, then you'll see something on the agenda to move it forward.
Very appreciative of that. And I think every community member in this town will be as well.
That concludes my comments. May I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Second.
Moved by Mr. Higgins, seconded by Mr. Sparta. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carried. Sorry about that.
That's right.
Oh.
I thought you were gonna bring it up.
Yeah, I was going to.
Yeah. I didn't want this zoning to be in here.
Yeah, I was willing.